to speak to us about unleashing the power of data to get ahead, we've got Vukosi Sambo. Vukosi is the head of data insights at Afrocentric Group. He is the agent of change, strategic thinker, and a thought leader within the data science industry. And Vukosi prides himself in being able to help companies craft data strategies and implement them. Please welcome on stage Vukosi Sambo.
Good afternoon, everyone. So yeah, I don't know how to feel about this conference to start off with. I feel like an outsider. I'm in the healthcare industry, not active retail like most of you. And last night, my wife said she was feeling sleepy and wanted to go to bed early. And 10 minutes later, I got an email from Amazon saying, "Thank you for your order." So yeah. Getting straight to it. So I'm from the Afrocentric Group. So maybe to sort of qualify myself to be part of this conference, I always say we are the most or the highest transaction form of insurance, you know, and complex one. So I mean, your life insurance is not very high transactional. It's the day you take it and the day you die and you don't get to enjoy the money. So at least you're gonna live here and some of you are gonna pass by the pharmacy and collect some script and that kind of stuff. So we are a diversified healthcare organization. Probably most of them, the most known brand in our stable is MedScheme. We administer medical aid just like a Discovery does. Some of our scheme clients being your GEMS, Polmed, Bonitas, FedHealth, MedShield, and some few closed schemes. So that's our traditional business, but we have since diversified and grown to have over 10 other subsidiaries invested in pharma, like I said, so high transaction there and deliver the HIV scripts on behalf of government, over 1.4 million scripts every month. So there is an element of retail or transaction, so I hope at least now I've qualified myself a little to be here. So that's our business. I'm gonna talk about 4 main things so around this data issue. So obviously the conference itself says digital retail. So my perspective or our perspective around this digital thing and the role of data within that. And then just move a little bit to say if you use the data right to innovate, how can you then go on to create value? And in terms of using that data, what are some of the most disruptive things that we're trying to do with our approach to analytics that power some of this work? And throw a bit of spanner for my data colleagues like Moloko about how we always talk about AI. So obviously digital. You know, it's all about this move towards platform business model that creates the customer network effects. And with that comes the explosion of the data that come from those interaction of systems and people. And obviously being able to manage, process, and utilize that data effectively with a very clear strategy at an innovation and product level is what allows you to innovate using data to create value for your customers and yourself as a business and improve their experience. And that's the essence of where data fits in this bigger digital transformation or digitalization for organizations. So that's sort of like the picture that you see there to say it starts with the customer. And obviously this introduces a new way of looking at competition, co-opetition, and data allows you to really innovate and create that value. And yeah, it has exploded over the years. They say we are creating about 2.5 quadrillions of it daily. And that's 18 zeros for those that are not in the data space. So that's a lot of data. And I always say something funny to say, It's actually affect all of the data that has been created up until 2010 is the equivalent of what we're now creating daily. So that's the exponential increase in terms of data explosion. But the funniest thing is that we've got more data and less insights, and probably the economists of 20 years ago could predict the future better. I don't even know where this country will be 6 months from now. ESCOM, everything. So we've got so much data, but lesser insights. We can predict higher levels of uncertainty. And what that means is that the way you need to look at data, process it, the importance of real time has never been more important than ever. That power our approach into how we try to extract maximum value from our customers on what you would call our retail channels. And the first one, obviously, as you would expect, is access. I mean, this whole digital thing is all about access. You need to be available on demand 24/7 on all sort of devices that I would prefer as a consumer. So access obviously is a big thing, and we data people usually also use the word democratization in terms of driving data and insights organizationally and internally. The second one is be insightful. You know, we like using insight in a previous role that she was heading insight, and there are a lot of definitions to what insight is, but on our side, one of the key things we focus on is whenever you land on a page, be it online, or even if I send you a report as a data scientist, at least you need to know what you're looking at. That's the first start. If you can't solve that, yeah, you've already lost it. Yeah, you didn't pass level 1, and you need to know whether it's good or bad, getting better or worse, why, what can you do about it. So all those kind of components, especially in our data world. And be dynamic and really customize, but within the confines of standardization. I talk to a lot of people, especially about standardization in our world, and they confuse it for uniformity. And it's anything but. I actually refer to it as endless adaptability. And that's why the customization comes to life when you understand standardization from endless adaptability point of view. And become part of the customer conversation. So as you guys expected it to say, when you are in that site, how do you create that conversation that can lead to a conversion? And all of it is all about value for both the stakeholders, or all the stakeholders involved, the customer and you. So for us, that's kind of like what the digital customer expects, or their behavioral attributes that we have studied and picked up. And if you address them in your digital channels, you will see better utilization, conversion, and all those digital metrics that you measure, be it Google Analytics and stuff, when you understand these fundamentals around what a digital customer is and what drives them all the time. So with that, once you capture that right with how you set yourself up and you start seeing that explosion of data, coming to the elephant in the room for most data conferences is this concept of monetization. And I'm sure that it equally is here to say, you guys have started, you want to sell data. And I always tell people to say, it's one of the most abused terms, in that all organizations represented here are monetizing data. And fortunately enough, on our side, we don't shy away from it, because I call our organization a data monetization company. So we are that bold about it for a few reasons. We are a healthcare organization, but we hire very few doctors. They hire people like me. I didn't study medicine. We actually don't sell anything tangible. We sell you a promise, and that promise is based on some truth or lie that I told my fellow colleagues that they can make to you. They say, you can sell this product for 1,000, and I can assure you, Matseho will get sick next week on Monday, she'll go to Mediclinic, she'll only stay for 2 nights and we'll have enough money to pay for it. So we've been monetizing data. We don't sell, we're not doctors, I don't even know how to perform an operation, but we collect 84 billion in premiums every year. So that's us. We data monetizers and we're proud of it, in essence. So, and that's why I try to just demystify this data monetization thing, to say most of you have and are building products informed by data. So either way, you wouldn't even know how to price the product if there was no data. So you've been monetizing. Some fully like us in your products, some you do sell physical products, but with insights behind them around the pricing and the elasticity and all those factors. And obviously how you deliver your service is a key part of that. And obviously the second key component is the experience. How you use your data and insights to improve the experience of your customers when they interact with your products or services. And the last one is to just improve your margins from how you better manage your risk and inefficiencies as a business. So those are layers of the monetization, and in some instances, in most instances, basically you see most organizations in their monetization activities already doing this. All of you, I think, are doing this, and it's 80% of your business, and the other 20% is people like us that misbehave and try to actually really sell the data. Yeah. So now that we are settled, we don't cause people to fall off the chair when we want to monetize data from these different platforms and channels where our consumers come through, to see how we can improve experience, better capture value, and all of that. We strongly believe that there are few key factors that allow or help you to then land that with the customer. And we've got a very keen focus on the design and user experience component. I'll quickly run through them. And we just really obsessed by being intuitively obvious. When you interact with our products, it must just simply make sense. We try to make it look very pretty, and data people try to do that, visualization and all of that. We speak about the art of storytelling and all those sorts of things. And we humanize the experience. And obviously all of this is technology enabled. That's why we're all here. And you'll see that most of that is borrowed or stolen with from how Steve Jobs approached his designs with the Apple product. And I've got a 6-year-old, and he has never seen a manual, but he really navigates his iPad very, very well. So I hate training. If you want me to train you on a report or a dashboard, then I know I've already done a bad job, because you should be able to intuitively and obviously navigate this product, and then you know you have won. And that allows you to create what we call universal appeal. And that's what you need when you are in that online presence, that appeal. That allows you to capture the value and drive that network that you need. And obviously, through that, you also, in terms of your packaging, create what we call consistent language of appearance, functionality, and style. So we do that well, and we believe that on our online platforms and even our internal data products, you gotta get that right in order to leverage maximum value from a conversion and utilization perspective from your customers. And all of that is backed by data and insights. I'm about to offend Moloko now, so yeah. Oops. Okay, that just went off. Oh, it's back up. So obviously, you have to do something to this data for it to become those insights that you get in that most powerful, impactful way that I just spoke about. And this is where the AI story comes in, and Martin is gonna talk more about AI, probably contradict me just after this session. But yeah, if I were to simplify what happens in an AI process is that you train a machine using data so that when it encounters a scenario, it references that and know how to respond. And if it's a little bit smart enough machine, it keeps on learning as it gets more and more or new and newer data. That's literally what really happens. And I think it's a terrible thing to do. Even though we get paid well and make lots of money from these things. For three main reasons. I think we need new AI algorithms. Firstly, I want to talk about the issue of social construct. So the problem with data is that some of the decisions that we're making today as human beings, which in turn is information that gets recorded, are wrong decisions, either now or even in the future. And now if you have trained something on wrong information, guess what it will do? And the social construct has evolved and continues to evolve all the time. Yes, we do say that the machine uses the most recent data to relearn or forget. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine actually this morning about the same thing called forgetfulness. To say we want the machine to forget certain things just like humans do. You don't remember what you ate on the 26th of January last year. But funny enough, you find with humans that they also forget even today's stuff or yesterday's stuff. So this forgetfulness even happen on a short term. So how do you have a machine understanding that a human being actually even forgets yesterday's thing? So you just gave me this information. How do I know to forget it so that I can behave as close as possible to this human? Because that's what AI tries to achieve. And if you achieve that, then you fully or best know that person and you can sell them stuff, you can, influence them. And that becomes a trick and it leads to the other two factors. So those three factors on top are not mutually exclusive. And it's this concept of neuroscience. And it talks about how we really make decisions, special purchase decisions, the pain points, all those elements. How do we process, especially in real time, information that we already know from history, how we're feeling right now to decide whether we're going to do or not do or buy or not buy something. And that's where all of that forgetfulness, the biases come in what we also call behavioral sciences. And the different cognitive biases that most of you would know. So to just give you an example, I can bet my last dollar here that if I were to offer you two options of giving you R1 million now or giving you 5 million rand in 10 years, majority of you will take R1 million now, without even analyzing interest rates and what that 2 million could grow to, and whether it's better to wait for them to take the 10. So those are the different biases. I mean, some businesses, our competitor used to work for them, Discovery. They've built an internationally recognizable brand called Vitality that basically incentivizes you to do what you should have been doing, which is drink water, exercise, and eat healthy. Funny. So people are not rational. I'm sorry if you're an economist, I've just disrupted your world. Everything you got taught in economics 101, it ain't true. So those three factors gives us an insight to say we don't need a recall-driven AI algorithms that we've been building based on the data that we're feeding into them. I've got this code that says we are fighting for data and attention. It's all about the attention. I mean, most of you are trying to declutter apps on your phone. Everyone has got an app, every product, everything. And it's like, yes, my phone is too busy now. And where do I go? Which one do I move in between? It's all about the attention. So we need attention-driven AI, not recall-driven AI. And now we start doing AI and data science differently. So when you understand those three factors that I spoke about there and how to model social construct, neuroscience, and behavioral science, you are able to build different kinds of AI that are attention-driven, which for this area of digital retail is key, because you're gonna get the best if you capture the attention of your customers online. So that is really just something on how we are doing it, trying to do it differently at Afrocentric and Scheme, especially in our farmer cluster side of things, where we've got that high transaction volume, to start understanding it from a completely different perspective, and not just history of some claims or scripts or medicine that you have collected in the past. So just advice for some of you to consider that, because that's actually the true reality of your digital customer in your different e-commerce platforms when you are dealing with data. So in closing and in summary, I've literally spoken about 4 key things. To say, obviously, ability to manage, process, and utilize data at scale, and the role of ecosystem with these platform models is key. And I'm not going to talk about cloud. I'm not a cloud expert. But all those things start falling in there to say, if you're going to manage data at that scale, what does it imply with regards to those kind of things? Martin will talk about them. You need to understand your customer, and in this case, your digital customer. And you need to have the ability to create this data-driven universal appeal when they encounter your services and products. And that data-driven needs to be done completely differently to how we've always done it and been glorified for doing it. And when you get those 4 key components right, you can rest assured that you will see an exponentially an accelerated return or value, and innovate differently, which is the end game of digital transformation in general. So that's my 1 or 4 point message. And yeah, thanks for indulging me. I will take some questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation. My name is Mohau. I'm from SAP Customer Experience, line of business. So you mentioned, quite bold statements regarding data as well. And I've done some few consultations with some of my clients when it comes to data. So I just wanted to pick your brains. So Google announced that it will do away with third-party cookies by 2024. So I just wanted to pick your brains on what does that mean, especially for statements like understanding your digital customer. What is the impact of that?
Yeah, tough one. So I think my view is that even as they do that, they'll find another way of tracking your activity. That's essential. And I think all of it is more centered around data ethics and finding better way to track people activities and collect data in the most ethical and most responsible way. We all know about GDPR, POPIA, and all of that. And I think we are all now somehow feeling the heat around how to do this responsibly. And I believe the innovation will continue. My view around it from the start has always been, it's about the trust and value. And that's why if you do the digital transformation right and arrive at that end goal of value creation for your customers, you will be sustainable. So when I'm a customer and I can see the value from allowing you or giving you access to my data to do certain things, and I know I can trust you to secure even that data, then it changes everything. And I think that's the world we need to move to, and making sure that people can acknowledge that customers are the owners of their data, and maybe for the banks represented here, and anyone willing to be entrepreneurial, is to say, how do we then create platforms where, as a customer, you can log into your profile and understand the value of all the data points that they have about you and decide if actually you want to sell it to someone to call you to sell insurance. And you make the money from it. And so you are the decider of whether your data can be monetized and you get the money from it. And for banks, since we are all saying that data is the new oil, actually the word bank is from someone who takes your assets and stores them safely and make them available for you when you want to. Probably we are more worried about the security of our data than our money, so maybe banks need to go into data banking, I don't know. Then create those kind of products.
And I'm a retailer. We're always looking for ways to save money as retailers. You know, these fancy softwares and everything. We're always trying to make money and save money. So my question to you is, what are the quick wins and more cost-effective ways for a growing retailer to collect data? What are the methods of data collection we can use, especially for a growing retailer that has not grown to the point where you can afford all these softwares?
Thank you. So let me say this. Most of the data that you need already exists. Someone has collected it. I laughingly tease my competitor colleagues, which some of them are my friends at Discovery, to say, you guys, because you started 20, 30 years ago with Vitality, you have a burden of collecting this information. But it sits somewhere. I just need to go unlock access responsibly, to his question earlier. So it's understanding your business model and how it needs to transform, for what purpose in terms of the value that you want to create, and then what data you need, and understand where that exists. And one of the key, what you will find is that in some instances it exists in multiple places. So getting a technology partner like your AWS, I'm not selling on his behalf, Martin is coming after me. Being able to have someone who can help you architecturally to connect those dots quickly, but you need to be very intentional and understand what data points you do need. The technologies are there and they are much cheaper, and that is the whole conversation around cloud ROI and how it enables speed to market, and with cheaper storage and all the other related factors if you know how to do it right. So I think if you get that, and I think what I would advise is that in this space, based on what I shared with you on those 3 caveats to how we're doing AI, is that you need to be able to really rapidly experiment. I mean, Google, I think last year I read something that they run over 500,000 experiments every month. So it's amazing. You know, we run one agile project over 2 months and we think we're agile. So it's that ability, and for a startup or someone who's trying to be savvy, is being able to experiment at a more aggressive pace, because that allows you to pivot quickly at lower cost and fail fast, learn quickly and move on. But yeah, consider a partner definitely. It's too heavy of a lift to do it on your own.
Hi, I just on a lighter note, right? You're obviously a master in artificial intelligence. I think what is most appealing is your real intelligence. So if this doesn't work out, you'll definitely do well as a stand-up comedian.
I had never considered that. But, yeah. I'll add it to my portfolio. I'll update my LinkedIn profile today.
No, but I really enjoyed your work. It was an excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm off the hook. Thank you.